Hi everyone, Dr. Maiden here with a video answering the question, should I major in political science? Okay, so this question, should I major in political science? I'm going to do my due diligence here since I am currently a professor in a political science department at a public institution, and I am going to say yes. Everyone should major in political science, whether you're pre-med or a music student. There is room for all here in the world of political science. You should all major and or minor in political science, okay? We kind of have to say that, right? Because every department everywhere is looking to up their enrollments. And so we want to cover our bases and make sure that everyone knows, yes, you should join the political science department, okay? Come take my classes. More seriously, I'm going to dive into just a couple of things to think about in terms of whether or not political science might be right for you, or why you might have an interest in political science, what could draw you to us here in the department. So the first thing that I'll just say is political science is a social science. So if you are interested in human behavior, that is very much at the root of everything that we do. We are analyzing human behavior through the lens of politics. And depending on who you talk to, there's a lot of different definitions of even what is politics. You'll hear things like who gets what, when, where, and why. You'll hear things like who rules, when, and how. You might hear, just questions about how do humans form into society with each other. So it's all of these big picture questions about human behavior that we are seeking to understand in political science. And we do it through this lens of politics, particularly the behavior of how do we form societies? How do we form governments? How do we decide who gets what, when, where, and how? How do we decide who rules us? Right? So we're talking about election systems, voting systems, the setup. Do we have a presidential system, a parliamentary system? What's the difference? Do we vote single member? Do we vote proportional? What's the difference? Okay. All of these things that we set up as a society to decide whether or not we are democratic or non-democratic, capitalist or non-capitalist. Okay. So that can be of interest to you if you're just interested in human behavior writ large and you're interested in human behavior and looking at human behavior through the lens of politics, the life of politics, all right? So maybe that would be a reason why political science is a good fit for you. Another thing that tends to draw a lot of students to political science is the idea that politics impact your life. So laws from where to put a speed bump, to whether a national election should be invalidated, to conduct during times of war. All of these things are determined through this thing that we call the political process, okay? And your life is absolutely impacted by it to some degree. And one of the things that's really important within the world of political science is it can show you how all these other intersecting factors like your social economic class, race, gender, language, religion, all of these different factors that help describe and define who you are, how they determine the degree of impact you personally feel by the politics that happen all around you. Okay, so one of the things that we really try to think about in political science is, people that say, oh, I don't get involved in politics. I don't think about politics. I don't like to talk about politics. That in and of itself becomes a very privileged position where you can say, let's look at that for a minute. Let's look at the privilege that you have to be able to have an understanding or an expectation that in your life, you do not think about or talk about politics. What happens to a person that they can get to that point in their trajectory compared to someone in a completely different situation, a different country, or just a different situation within the same city? Here in Jacksonville, you can imagine people having very different opinions and connectivity to politics, the same politics happening at the same time, okay? So a lot of students really get drawn to this element of it, this idea of it impacts me. And I want to understand more about how it impacts me, or I want to understand how I can start to impact it back, right? How can I get involved and how can I be engaged in my politics so I don't feel so much like politics happens to me? I am actually part of the process, okay? The other piece here then that I can say, particularly coming from our position where we have a master's in international affairs. Here at UNF, we have an international studies major. We've got lots of students engaged in international relations, comparative politics. That's the subfield that I teach within. Is just this general idea of political science can really draw people that are interested in being world citizens. They're curious global citizens. So you're interested in combining things about not just politics of here in Jacksonville, but you want to learn about things like, what is Brexit and why is it happening? Why are people so upset about this person called Aung San Suu Kyi? Why is she in the news all the time, right? So you want to do things like learn languages. You want to talk to people. You want to be in positions where you're helping people. You want to be a world citizen. Maybe you want to work for a nonprofit. You want to work for the government. You want to work in the development sector, and you see yourself doing projects in Latin America or Sub-Saharan Africa. You want to travel. You want to engage in cultural practice, not just US culture, English language, but really expanding yourself beyond the scope of living here in Jacksonville, if that's where you're from, or wherever you're from, maybe here in the US. It's very much this sense of wanting to be an engaged global citizen, understanding more about the world around you, okay? So if any of these three things resonate with you, whether you're just really interested in this thing we call human behavior and the politics behind human behavior, you're interested in understanding more about how politics impacts your life, the degree to which it impacts your life, and the positionality you can have to politics, how can you start to impact it back? And just this general sense of wanting to be a world citizen, wanting to be an engaged citizen, a citizen that knows what's happening around them. Any of these things could draw you into us here in political science. So whether you want to major in it, you want to minor in it, depending on what you're balancing in your program, you're always welcome to come and talk to us. Talk to your advisor for sure. Here at UNF, compared to other university systems I've been a part of, we don't engage, the faculty do not engage in advising in terms of what classes to take and how to complete your degree on time. We don't do that. We have advisors that do that. They do all the advising. I can give advice, right? With a C, I can give advice. So you're welcome to come talk to me, talk to someone like the Professor Schwambert, who runs the Masters of International Affairs program, talk to even the International Center and see what type of programs they could have if you're interested in study abroad. I've got some videos I can link down below that I've done on study abroad and how you can engage that in your scholarship. Political science really lends itself to that. There's a lot of opportunities to do internships, to get work experience, to study abroad as part of our program. So that might be an interest for you as well. But yeah, always feel free to talk to us. Talk to other students too, is a big thing. Talk to students that are majors and see what they think. Feel them out. You know, what do you think about it? What classes did you like? Why did you major in this? Do you think I should major in this? You know, don't just take our word for it, especially if what we're going to say is yes, you know. Talk to students. That's a great place to start as well. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to chat with you about this, and otherwise have a great weekend.